Hi there, guys. I wonder whether you guys can hear me. Give me a second. Let me just check. Hi there, guys. I'm just doing a little bit of a sound check as well as screen check, whether you guys can hear me loud and clear as well as see my screen. Also see me, I think. Let me just make sure. You guys are okay? Could you type into the box anyone who could actually hear me loud and clear, see my screen as well? Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Hi there, guys. Recording. Okay, guys, welcome. And today is the 22nd of March. So we are looking into the week ahead. And it's a Monday, the 22nd of March, and it's Bretton's Academy Monday's session, basically. So we'll take a look at the week ahead, a couple of trade ideas as well. But I want to go through with you on what I do as a trader on a daily basis and what I see as a potential in terms of what do I actually conduct in terms of analysis first to actually do a trend analysis before we actually pick the right pair to actually trade for the day. So that's the most important part before we actually jump into the MT4 or MT5 onto your charts. Basically, before we draw anything or use our strategies, we need to always understand the trend. Now, the thing about the trend as of last week and also last month for the past couple of weeks back, it has always been related to yields, bond yields, and it has been related to that, and it is still relating to that. And as of last week, it became positive now with regards to what's going on in the market, with regards to appetite of investors, and also with what Powell have actually mentioned about the yield. So at this moment of time, the US cannot avoid inflation. They cannot avoid, for whatever decisions that they have actually made, which we don't want to go deeper into what yield is and all that. We can have a different tutorial on that. But the outcome of what have happened last week is that they cannot avoid inflation at this moment of time, which basically will push the US dollar up. Now, we have seen the reflection of that happening as well. Let me just, I don't want to go straight to the chart yet, but then I just want to talk a little bit about something and then show you straight away. So we have got a little bit of a negative sort of impact on the 1 hour chart on the USD JPY. So, but it doesn't actually mean that, oh, the USD is going down now. It's actually downtrend. No, because we can never use one time frame to actually look at candles and then say that it is actually going down or up. So what is actually happening at this moment of time is there may be a correction. We'll talk about it in a technical side of it, but most importantly, we want to look at the market overall using a heat map first. Okay, so then we know what are the best currencies we can actually focus on for the whole week, and whether or not the trend is super strong. If a trend is super strong and it will actually maintain itself for the whole week, then we know that we can actually focus and grab that pair to actually trade for the whole week. So we may actually enter and re-enter trades with that pair because that pair is focused by the big boys as well. So we don't want to pick pairs just out of intuition, or we just want to pick that pair because we like it. Now, if you do that, it's also okay. It's just your rights to do that, but it's very important for us to actually be consistent, to actually trade what the big boys are actually trading. So that's the most important thing. So I want to just share with you on what I can see as of today, last night as well, through a heat map. Okay, so I want to go through with you some heat maps as well. We'll go through the action Forex heat map, but what we're doing right now is not to decide, okay, I want to buy that and I want to sell that and all that. That would actually be disturbing your consistency of profiting in the market for this whole week, because right now our focus is this whole week. What can we actually trade? And we want to make the decisions of picking the right pair to trade. So I'm using this Forex early warning heat map. Now this heat map has been around for 15 years already. Okay, now this heat map is the same heat map that is used by very large hedge fund companies as well. But I want to just tell you a little bit about it. Okay, it's very different from the one that you get from Action Forex and all that, but sometimes you can actually find a match between them, meaning that the direction is the same, the currency pairs that are bullish or bearish are the same. Then if we have that kind of match, usually it's actually a good timing to pick that pair and trade that pair. But of course, we need to do all other analysis as well onto the charts. Now, let me just make sure that I have admitted everyone. Okay, good. All right, guys. So welcome for the ones who have just joined me. Welcome. We are actually doing a little bit of a market outlook, but the outcome is we want to pick the right pair to trade for today and for the whole week as well. But of course, some pairs we can actually pick and trade for the whole week because we have the trend really strong on 1 hour, 4 hour, daily and weekly. If we get that kind of a pair that shows the strength on all time frames and most of the high time frames, then we know that that pair we can trade over and over again for the whole week. Okay, for the ones that are short term, sometimes it's not really safe if we see that it's strong. If you look at a pair and it's strong, we need to ask ourselves whether or not it is for the short term or it is for the long term. If it is for the long term, short, medium, and long term, that means it is actually a safe pair to actually pick and analyze it more so that you don't waste your time and looking at all the pairs. When you look at all the pairs, you'll actually start to get diverted and distracted, and then you will miss out opportunities as well. So here we go. Now I have got Asian session right here and European session. Okay, we want to look at the European session right now because Asian session is quieting down already. Now London Open is going to come in, and then later on in another couple of hours, we have got more European, what do you call that, participation. We've got London Open. Now we've got European session in Frankfurt just open, and then we've got London session later on. Then later on, we've got US session. So we want to focus on European American session right here. So when we look at the Forex early warning heat map right here, which I will share with you on how I use it every day for the past many years, is that we just look at the bars. You know, all these bars, you've got the red bars and the green bars. The green bars means that that base currency is really strong. Like for example, let's say here, we've got a little green one here for Euro USD. Okay, so now Euro USD, the Euro basically is just picking up basically, but it's against the USD. Okay, right here. Right, so then it's not really that strong as we want it to be. When we look at the bars are not only talking about bullish and bearish. If we get a long bar like this, okay, so here for example, I would look at all the pairs that is against the JPY. Why? Because we have a lot of big bars, long bars, and they are all red, meaning that everything against the JPY is red. That means JPY is actually quite strong. Okay, so we want to confirm the trend on the chart. We cannot confirm the trend with the heat map. So what traders usually does the mistake is that they look at the heat map, whether it's Action Forex or here, and they follow it blindly. And then they look at it and they say, okay, if it is bearish, then I want to sell. If it's bullish, I want to buy. But what we do with the heat map actually is that we want to use it as just to tell us which currency is popular, which currency we should actually pick it. But then we need to go onto the chart and analyze the trend ourselves. Okay, so we just pick the pair with a heat map not to decide buy or sell. We just pick it to decide whether or not it's popular or not. Like for example, this is not very popular here. It doesn't have a lot of the bars are not long. That means the money is not into this pair. There are no money into Euro CHF. There's no money into Euro. There's no money here. That means there's no liquidity. There's no liquidity. There's no market participation. Nobody is really trading. Nobody is actually really interested or have placed any pending order or been interested in the pair. So why would we want to go and analyze these pairs further? No, we don't. So we go on to the ones that are really interesting and interesting for traders. That means all the bars are very long. Now, the bars are very long, what do you call that, active in terms of the trading activity. So here we know that the highest ones are AUD JPY and CHF JPY. So I would then go and analyze the market much more onto all these pairs against the JPY. So now it's telling you that all the pairs against JPY is good to find out more. Okay, it's good to explore further. Then what I will then do is I will write it down and I will wonder, why is it against JPY? Why JPY today? Why is JPY against the JPY is in focus today? And why is JPY really strong? Okay, so if JPY is really strong, that means that traders are putting their money into a safe haven. Okay, so if they're putting their money into safe haven, that actually means CHF is also a safe haven. That means gold is also a safe haven. All right, so I want to find out that. So what we do next is we go on to the action bias, not action bias, action forex heat map as well. We just want to always use 2 or 3 tools of the same kind, so that if my forex early warning someday just conk out, let's say it just got hacked or it doesn't work anymore, the company goes bankrupt for some reason, let's say, so you don't get stuck in here. We cannot get stuck in our mental capacity while we are trading. So we cannot actually rely on one website and it's an amazing tool, and we cannot guarantee that that amazing tool or that amazing website will last forever, right? So I never actually have it in my mind that it will last forever. So if we go on to actionforex.com and we click onto markets, you click onto currency heat map, you've got that free version of the heat map as well. Let me just check the messages. Okay. If you guys have got any questions at any moment of time, just ask. Okay. So now here on the Action Forex heat map, I want to also look at JPY. Now I can see that JPY against all these currencies are actually strong, and it is actually mirroring what I am seeing in the early warning here. In the early warning, the Forex early warning, it's telling me that, hey, you know, everything against JPY is actually very popular. Okay, a lot of people are trading the pairs that are against JPY, and I can see that most of the pairs here, the base currencies, are very weak against JPY. That actually means JPY is really strong. When I go onto the heat map here, I can see that JPY against Euro and against CHF is really good to actually pay a lot of attention. Why? Because we want all these 4 row to actually be dark blue, but then here you've got only three, which is good. What that means is that it is really strong. JPY is very strong against the euro, very bullish in the 4-hour, in the daily, and in the weekly chart. Not yet in the monthly, for CHF as well. So I would then write down euro JPY and CHF JPY. Okay, so Euro JPY, let me write it down as well. Euro JPY and CHF JPY will be good pairs for us to analyze further in the technical chart. Okay, so but then Euro is for the buy, CHF is for the buy as well, because Euro is for the sell, CHF for the sell as well. Why? Because it's really weak. As you can see Euro here, Euro against JPY. very weak, very bearish. Okay, so we want to take a look at Euro JPY and CHF JPY. Now, let's go back to the action forex again, once again, and let's go to the top movers for the day, right? Now, when we go to the top movers, we want to also take a look at what's going on in a bird's eye perspective. Okay, we can start with a 4-hour chart. We want to look at the top 10. Now, when you look at the top 10, it's the same thing. A lot of interest on JPY pairs. Okay, so for some reason, we need to pay a lot of focus on JPY pairs, not Euro USD, CHF, GBP CHF, or AUD, NZD. All that is not really supposed to be in the focus for today, at least. Why? Because everybody else is going to a different party. They're going into a different area, different pairs. And when I say everybody, not everybody, of course, but most of the traders and investors. So as you can see, from 1 to 10, focus is JPY, 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 JPY. 7 out of 10 focus of the top trending pair is JPY pairs. Okay, and then the number 1 is CHF JPY. I think here there is a bit of a mistake here. This may not be CHF JPY. I'm not sure, because I think it's a little bit of a glitch. So I will go on to the daily chart as well. And I can see the focus is still on JPY, but GBP JPY on the daily chart is in focus, and Euro JPY and NZD JPY. These are the top 3 in the daily, on the daily chart. And if I go on to the 4-hour, you've got CHF JPY right there. Still, you've got the Euro JPY there as well. But when I click onto any one time frame right here, I can see that the one that has 4 dots is CAD JPY. Okay, so CAD JPY also is something that we need to write down, and we want to find whether there's any opportunity in selling CAD JPY. But what we do is that we want to write down 3 pairs for today to monitor and to look at whether or not they are really bearish. Okay, so Euro JPY, CHF JPY, and CAD JPY. Why? Because JPY is on the strong side, so all other pairs are very weak against JPY. All right, so let me just make sure I don't have that. Okay, so I hope you guys are clear on the fundamental side of it, right? Of course, I do more readings on various other things. I use different tools on my fundamental analysis. I do readings as well. So just to share with you guys, we have got the Asian equity side of it, with the Thai baht, Singapore dollar has been quite strong. I think the Malaysian ringgit and the Thai baht, Indonesia rupiah, and all that as of Asian Open has actually been quite weak against the dollar. So dollar has been picking up from Asian session. So there may be some reversal of the US dollar here just to find a support to actually bounce up. But we want to look at that technically. But then this is not the focus for me personally on USD at this moment of time. Why? Because the investors and the traders out there, they are paying a lot of attention to JPY pairs. Of course, USD JPY may be good, but anything that doesn't revolve around JPY may not be the focus or the liquidity at this moment of time, especially as of today. Maybe they have plans that we don't know about, why investors are rushing into JPY pairs, or maybe there's a reason out there. There's news that we may have missed, or there may be upcoming news that they are expecting it to be more and more positive, or there may be yields involved as well in Japan and various other things. Okay. All right, so coronavirus impact as well. I have seen that it will be quite negative in Europe, especially with regards to coronavirus vaccinations type things. And also, I think in Germany and another country is not being very, very positive at this moment of time. Here, for example, we have got one very big news in Europe, right? So the EU is reportedly expected to block AstraZeneca vaccine and ingredient exports to the UK. So Europe and UK may have a very big impact on their economy and on everything. So that might impact the pound and also the euro. So we want to look at that. But this is the reason why we see that a lot of movement of money going into JPY. Okay, so it is good because safe haven, basically the money is going into safe haven like JPY because of this negative thing that is going on with the coronavirus vaccination. Because they're going to block the ingredients export to the UK. That means the UK will have very negative impact on having the vaccination. So then the news in the UK will actually be, oh, you know, we don't have the vaccination yet, and the plan for vaccination will all go down, and then there will be more on lockdowns, and a lot of issues would actually come up. So that would actually be very negative for the GBP, very negative for the euro too. So, but we need to monitor and see whether this news will actually make that happen. Okay, so but at least we know that that is the headlines for the day. Then we have got in FX, DXY consolidated. Now, DXY stands for the USD index. Now, the USD index, if it is bullish, it basically gives us the idea that USD will be bullish as well. So, but then it says here that it is around the 92.00 mark, with price action relatively contained in the G10 space. G10 are the G10 countries. Okay, so we've got Turkish lira here, I think, slumped down. Okay, looking ahead. So this is an important part for me for this week. The highlight is on ECB, a lot of Euro news, and then we have got Federal Chairman Powell again, and US. So US and Euro economic data is really important for this week. So there's a lot of movement there. But as of today, I can see that JPY's interest safe haven buying is going on at this moment of time. Okay. All right. So when we take a look at all this roughly, before we take a look at this roughly, then what we can then do next is to go on to the chart. Okay. So before that, let me just put you into a focus of the three currency. Give me a second. Let me admit some people. Let me put the focus on Euro JPY, CHF JPY, and CAD JPY first, okay? Because I want to give you guys an idea of how we can actually really go on to understanding the trend and picking the right pair for the day to actually trade. Give me a second, guys. I need to move this. Okay, move it up. All right. So I've got my CAD JPY here. I'm just going to move it there. Okay. We'll take a look at the pairs that you guys are trading as well, and whether or not you guys are still in floating and stuff like that. We'll talk about the troubleshooting side of it as well. But we want to not miss any opportunities on the three pairs as well, if there are opportunities, of course. Let me just change this to Euro JPY around here. I just want to lay out the three pairs. Give me a second, guys. Euro JPY as well. Now, where is the Euro JPY? Okay, got it there. So I've got CAD JPY, Euro JPY, and also CHF JPY. Let's see, we'll change one of these. CHF JPY. Give me a second, guys. All right, so let's focus on these three pairs and let's plan forward, and want to highlight some important things that you guys need to know about each one. Let's start off with Euro JPY. Got CAD JPY and CHF JPY. Just before that, let's go on to the economic calendar very quickly. And I just want to look at for this week, just to highlight to you guys of this week's high impact data. just to match it with what we are doing now in picking up the right pairs as well. So we've got Monday, the 22nd today, right up to Friday, the 26th. As of Sunday, news is not here. Okay, because sometimes Sundays you've got some news released as well. Now, as of today, I would see that because the interest rate decision of China will has already been announced, it's been announced as neutral. Here, I think it would actually impact Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar as well. So whatever that goes on in China in terms of its GDP or interest rate decision, whatever that is positive would actually impact positively, usually the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar as well, okay, because they are very big trading partners. So when you see anything positive in China, especially important news, you will see it correlate positively with what goes on in Australia and New Zealand. Okay, so here we are waiting for U.S. Federal Chairman Powell's speech today on the 22nd. So that would then impact more of what's going on. So if we pair USD with JPY, of course, we never talked about it yet because we want to focus on pairs that have got good opportunities today. And that is the Euro JPY, CHF JPY, and CAD JPY. But on a rough scale, we may see that USD may actually be weakening against the JPY if JPY is really very strong in terms of the interest of people buying the JPY because of what's going on in the vaccine side of it. I think it's quite negative and it will become more and more negative as well, especially in Europe and the UK, but that also goes in US as well. So we need to know whether it's a correction or a change of trend. Okay, so no problem, Mr. Kunan. Drive safe. Okay, good. So here we want to also look into, see if you look at Euro USD, for example, you've got it on the weak side, but then you've got everything USD picking up. Okay, so this is not very clear in terms of trend. That's why I never paid a lot of attention to that. And that's why I want to look at something that is more solid, and that solidity of trend and clarity is actually against the JPY. That's why I never look into gold and look into USD, looking into GBP, all that maybe a little bit too early. Also because of the session. Today is Monday and their session hasn't opened yet or hasn't actually marinated the news properly and become strong yet. But then against the JPY, we have already seen it's marinated quite well and stuff, but we want it to be showing us clarity in the chart. Okay, so here, okay, so here we have got Euro JPY, and let's just make it really simple in terms of trend analysis first. Always start off, I mean, in my way of doing things, I have always done it the same way all throughout these years, and I always apply the 50, 100, and 200 EMA, exponential moving average. Okay, and I want to look at how they move, and I want to look at all the candles, whether they're under all the three EMAs. I've also added another extra EMA, and that is the number 8 exponential moving average. Okay, so this is important as well because the number 8 exponential moving average seem to be moving exactly like the candle, as you can see, so it gives me a little bit of a direction as well, a trend direction. So we start off with 1 hour chart. Now we are expecting JPY to pick up, so everything against JPY to be on the downside. So is it actually a downtrend or not? We cannot decide that clearly with just one time frame. Okay, so I always start off with a 1 hour chart and I look at all these candles and I can see that the candles are definitely under all the 3 lines. The 8 EMA as well is going downwards, and then the candles are going lower. But I see that the 1 hour chart is not clear yet of the trend because the 3 lines are touching one another. Okay, and I want to compare it with the 4 hour chart. Now, with the 4-hour chart, there is a little bit of a conflict with Euro JPY. Why? Because it looks like, yes, it's on a downtrend, meaning that the candles are moving down. But then the three lines, EMA, does not tell you that it is on a strong downtrend because the three lines are moving upwards. So if they are moving upwards, and then you've got the candles going inside all the three lines, they are not under all the three lines. You need to look for two things. The three lines has to be down and the candle should be under it to show you that it is on a downtrend. Here, there's a conflict. The candles are going down, but then the three lines are going up. Candles going down, three lines going up. So there's a conflict. So it's not clear. So if you want to lose your money right now in selling the Euro JPY, you can definitely lose it, I think. Why? Because as it comes downwards, a lot of traders will think that, hey, it's a downtrend because they look at just that one single candle and they look at it and it looks very, very strong and it looks very, very bearish, but it only looks that way. So that in reality, it may actually find what? Support. Why? Because as it comes down, it will approach the 200 EMA, right? And the 200 EMA can be support, can be resistance. As you can see, it found support, support, support here. Okay, so it could find resistance as well. It can find support as well. As you can see, if you push this one there, it has found resistance as well, and it has found support as well. So the three lines, EMA lines, the 50, the 100, and 200, is also your guide as support resistance levels, right? So as it comes down, and because it's just not clear in terms of the trend, what would most likely happen is for it to come down and find support. It can find support at the 200 EMA here, or if you look to the left, it can find support in this area right here as well. So if I do support at all these cluster of candles here, and then here, okay, this is how I get my support lines as well based on these candles right here. Now, if that candle right now of Euro JPY start falling and falling and falling and come down, pierces through that, it will still be able to go up again at this EMA, correct? But then if you look at this EMA to the left, you can see that you've got another area here as support. Okay, so because we have got a lot of support now, I know that the trend is showing you, hey, you've got a downtrend quite strong on Euro JPY. But then in terms of timing, it is not the time for you to sell because at any moment of time, it can go up here or it can go up here. All right. So what I will then do is it's a matter of timing. So when I know that this is the case, I then know how do I actually do pending order. So if you do a pending order and you plan where is a safe time for it to trigger the sell, you don't need to be in front of your computer anymore after that. You can go and plan, do other things, or you can actually plan other trades in a different kind of method, a different strategy as well. Okay, if you want to go and scalp and stuff like that, you can do that. But for me, in terms of doing it this way, is to actually free your mind a little bit more and to have your time being able to be used for other things. Okay, so here, for example, we have got 128.84, which is close to the 80 psychological level, down to 128.71, still very close to the psychological level of 80. So we have got this zone here. It's a potential support zone right there. Okay, so we've got that as your support zone. Now, if it breaks through and comes down and breaks through and goes lower than the 200 EMA, then it might find support again here at this area, because this is a low, right? This is a high right here. Okay, so let me just do that here. Okay, there you go. So you've got your price able to pierce through or find support here or find support here. All right. So this is not timing yet. I know maybe some of you guys are very eager to must want to trade today. If you want to do that, what happens is that it will trap you, and then it will cause you to have less and less equity. When the real timing comes for trading, you may have less than what you have had. Okay, so we just want to time it a little bit better to understand. So for those of you guys who wants to sell, for example, yes, you can actually take that as a sell type signal. It's just that I don't anti-trend trade, but it's not wrong to do that. So for those of you who wants to actually trade on the downside, at least you know that you may find support here at 12880 area. So basically, it's better if you are already selling or thinking of selling. It's better for you to actually exit at 12890 or 12910. 12910 is just about 4 pips away. So 12890 or 12910. Okay, so it's entirely up to you. So that is basically the opportunity there on the sell side. If you are thinking on this on the sell side, because that's the only room that the market is giving you at this moment of time. If you look to the left, you don't need to go so far to the left unless you don't find this support. If you find it as what your eyes can actually see, then you just use the recent ones and just look at where the support could likely be. Okay, so this one is quite logical. The support was quite close to the 128.80 psychological level. So there you go. Now, if I were to click that one there, give you a better idea. As you can see, it's got loads of higher high, higher high, higher lows, and then now it's sort of begun to come downwards. But then in terms of the trend, there may be a potential of Euro JPY going lower and JPY getting stronger and stronger. But the most important thing is for us to know that the timing to actually participate in a Euro JPY selling trend, like a marathon, is not yet happening yet, but it may be beginning to happen. So this is a good thing. So all we want to know is whether or not it'll find support here. Now, even if it finds support and start to go up, the problem is that the trend for the uptrend is not clear as well. Why? Because the candles need to be either above all the three lines or under the three lines, then you've got a clear trend. If the candles are above all the three lines, that means you are in a clear uptrend. If the candles are under all the three lines, they are a very clear downtrend. If the candles are trading like now in within the three lines, not above, not under all the three lines, that means it is still unclear of the actual trend. Okay, whether or not this is a correction of the uptrend, or maybe it will continue and then change into a downtrend. We don't know that yet until we can see in 3 time frames at least you have got the candles either above all 3 time frames or under all 3 time frames. Now, in my guess, it looks like there is a potential for prices to actually go up again in the long term for Euro JPY, but now maybe it's just a correction. Okay, so this is it, because maybe it is also telling us that a lot of people have actually been selling the euro and buying the JPY in the Asian session. But we want to know whether or not the people in Europe, in the US, in the UK are going to follow that trend as well. If they are going to follow that trend of selling the euro as well, and they are going to be doing that more and more for this whole week, then we may see a change of trend. Okay. All right, guys. That is for Euro JPY. Let us look into the USD, sorry, not USD, CAD JPY as well. Okay. And then we can take some questions, and then we can troubleshoot your trades a little bit. Okay. So any questions, guys, so far? You guys want to ask any questions first about your current trades. If you have questions about what we are showing, what I'm showing you today, right now, or can talk about some questions that may have popped up about your trades as well. If it is concerning JPY especially. CAD we'll start off with the 1 hour chart. Give me a second. All right, so we have got the CAD as well, doing almost the same thing. In a 1 hour chart, not very clear. Looks like a sideways type trend, or not clear or certain trend type at this moment of time. So as you can see, it's all there. It's in the middle of the three lines. It's not giving me any clarity yet. Okay, so here the same thing. It is not matching. 1 hour chart showing something else, 4 hour chart showing something else, and then you got the daily chart showing something else as well. Now the thing about the CAD is that it's showing very clear sort of upward type trend in the daily chart. So maybe whatever that is coming down right now is only a correction. We don't know that yet, but for me and for the traders out there, it's not really a very nice timing to enter the trade, because the trend is not clear. If we go on to the 15-minute chart, for example, short term, you can see that you seeing it more on the downtrend on the 30 minutes, on the 15 minutes chart. You can see that found resistance and all that at the EMA, and then now it's going upwards, maybe correction to come down. We don't know that yet. Then we go on to the 30 minutes, for example, and then we see it's down as well. But then the three lines are not looking that good. And then it becomes very confusing on the 1 hour chart. Then when you go on to the 4 hour chart, the 4 hour chart does not really tally match with the 1 hour chart. So what I'm trying to also say is that we need to try not to be overly excited at the very beginning for the trend analysis. When we see the trend on the heat map and stuff like that, it may show us the trend that is coming, or the trend that is building up, or the trend that is slowing down as well, right? But then we need to do the trend analysis to then go on to different other analysis to make sure that whether or not the timing is right for you to click the buy and the sell button. Now, in this scenario so far with Euro JPY and CAD JPY, it was very good when we did the fundamental side of it. When we go onto the heat maps and all that, it looks very good on the trend side of it, but it's not good when we go onto the technical side of it, and it's not good in terms of timing to enter. Maybe the trend will become stronger, maybe the Euro will become weaker and the JPY will become stronger, but in terms of timing, because we look into the technical chart, it's not good timing for Euro JPY and CAD JPY right now for us to trade. Maybe the trend is building up more and more. It's becoming stronger and stronger for the JPY. Okay, we don't know that yet. We have to look into the market. It's still a bit too early, especially for the first day of the week, for us to. It needs time. The market needs time as well. For it to do that. So here, when we go on to the CHF JPY, for example, we find that straight away on the 1 hour chart, you can see some entanglement of the EMA lines, correct? So here itself is saying to us that, okay, it is trending on the downside, or trading on the downside, because of the candles are under all the three lines. But in terms of the clarity and the strength of the trend, not yet, okay? Give me a second. Okay, not yet. So this is what it's trying to tell you. That's why it's correcting as well. So then if we go on to the 4 hour chart, and on the 4 hour chart, it's total confusion. Why? Because you've got all these three lines sideways, and then you've got all these candles doing all kind of things here. So it's not very clear. So CHF JPY is the most unclear one compared to the three, Euro JPY and CAD JPY. So CHF JPY may not be a good one for you to participate in any way for now, at least for now, maybe later on, yes. But then Euro JPY and CAD JPY, we need to think a little bit more. Euro JPY, we've got a rough idea. What could actually potentially happen is that it might also find support earlier than here, where you can actually find support here. Why? Because the current candle right now is trading following a mother candle of the past. You see that mother candle, the length of the body of the mother candle, it actually ended up here. Okay, so this is another possibility of where the current candle can find support is at 128.99. So that basically means that it could actually, if it wants to, it can actually correct and bounce up earlier, not at this green zone, but at 129.00 area. Why? Because it's a psychological level. Okay. Yes, let's we can do that, Mr. Kunun, on AUD USD. So for AUD USD on the 4-hour chart, can we draw a trend? Daily chart shows it's on a sell. Yes, we can. If we can find three consecutive time frames, like for example, daily does not match, right? But then you've got 30 minutes match with 1 hour match with 4 hour. You can use that set of three. If they're all matched there, then you ignore the daily chart. Okay, that's for AUD USD. Let's take a look at AUD USD as well. Okay, I have drawn some things there. Let's just check it out. I'll just start with the 1 hour chart. And when I look at the 1 hour chart itself, it's quite clear that it's not clear. You see, it's clear that it's not clear. So what that means is that trend is not clear on the 1 hour chart, because you see the way the three lines are moving. It's just not nice. It's not open up, and it's not coming down like that. It's just tangled and it's sideways. So it's not giving us, you know why it's like that? Because the focus is not on AUD USD. The focus by big traders are on other pairs, especially with the JPY. Okay, so here, because it's quietening down already the market in the AUD side of it, because they are far ahead of us, right, in terms of time. And the USD session, US session hasn't come into play yet. So here we find that it's very unclear in terms of trend. There is almost no trend yet at the moment for AUD USD on the 1 hour chart. When you look into the 4 hour chart, it's confirming to you that it's on consolidation, or it's still thinking, it doesn't know what it wants to do yet because of the three lines as well, right? So it's also it's finding support, and we've got a giant candle right there on the left, and it's worth about, that single candle itself is about 90 pips. Okay, that single mother candle is of 90 pips. So you need to respect that zone, basically from the opening price of that mother candle, which is 77.05. And then the wick of the bearish candle there is at 76.98. So I would say that the 77 area is a very, very crucial support area. Okay, so here, for example, if you want to look at whether or not there is a potential of a upward trend, it would be better to make sure that the candles go past all the three lines first. Okay, but of course, after it passes the three lines here, it can actually go up following that strength of that mother candle. But again, on the left, we have got a resistant area right here. Okay, so I would think that if, for example, we look into buying the AUD USD, it will be only after the 77.50 area, because this is still in this zone here, is still the still 77.50 onward. 77.60 would probably be better. If the price goes up and go above all the three lines and go to 77.60, then you've got a potential for you to buy and get about 30 pips at 77.90. So that will be probably a pending order if you want to 77.60 and then 77.90 exit. But for me, I would do a pending order also if I see that the trend is clear. At the moment, the trend is also not very clear. So it could happen, it could not happen, this kind of scenario, okay? And it's quite blur as well because the trend is just not strong. If I go onto the daily chart for AUD USD, it's still on the upward type movement. I mean, we see that it's bullish generally, but again, I want it to go above 77.90 and above, or even 78.00. Then it gives me better confidence of buying that currency, AUD USD. So for me, if I were to look into the longer, slightly medium to longer term, I will wait for it to go at 78.10 to buy. And then I will, come out at 78.40, because that is an opportunity for later on, I think. At this moment of time, it's still too early to see any volume of participation for AUD USD. Now we'll just trick you and go in a range kind of thing, I think. Okay. So that is for AUD USD. Not a very nice pair to trade at the moment. You guys want to share the pairs that you guys think would have some momentum, some liquidity, and some trend? Anything, guys? Any pairs that you guys have seen for today, especially? Because I'll do individual videos on specific signals. If I get a signal on Euro JPY, then I will do a video specifically for Euro JPY to give you the whole analysis on the Euro JPY, and where you enter, where do you exit, what's your stop loss preferably, and all that kind of thing. Okay. All right. Okay, guys, I think that's all I have for you guys for now, but I would like questions from you guys. If you guys any questions on your trade or any pair that you want me to look at right now, especially pairs that has a movement. What I want to do as well before I leave is, before I leave the session, is to actually tell you a little bit about Euro USD. Okay, so Euro USD, for me, in my opinion, it's got a lot of room to actually fall. But then it takes time for that fall, okay, for the longer term, but only because I see that it's got a huge lazy Z, or a lazy Z type pattern, which basically gives me the idea that it may actually start falling, or already started falling, to the end of this purple line right here, to 1493 area. But again, it's far away, right? So it may not happen right now, maybe a couple of years, we don't know that. So what we want to do is that we see it as a big picture only. Potentially, it is actually following the downward type movement, okay, for Euro USD. And we can see that up to the 4-hour chart, it is sort of steadily going downwards under the 3 lines as well. And then 4-hour charts the same, but then only from the daily onwards, it start to show us that it is in between the 100 and the 200 EMA. So if it does fall under 1820 and below, then there is a big chance for it to come downwards to this area, and then eventually this area. So now a little bit too early. So I want to monitor and see whether or not it goes under 1.1880, because 1.1880 is a very crucial support resistant area. If it goes under 1.1880, then it has got a lot of chance for it to invite more sellers into the market, and then the sellers will start to pull the price down even more. Okay, so under 1.1880 and below, and actually not 1.1880, 1.1820. Okay, so 1.1820 is sort of your trend indicator, whether it's going to continue as a downtrend. Now, if it comes 1.1880 and below, it will actually come, most probably come down to 1.1850 or so and stuff like that. Because I only see the longest mother candle here after the 1.1880 area. You have one mother candle right here, but you don't have something that really long come down. So that actually shows that it might actually come down and correct itself. So it might correct itself at 1.1850 or 1.1820 area. So we just need to monitor where it corrects itself. If it corrects itself lower, then it's got a chance for it to go up and then come down even more. But if it corrects itself earlier, that means it wants to go up, so it's correcting earlier. Okay. All right. Okay, guys, no questions at all. If no questions, we'll end the session for today, and then you'll catch me again on Wednesday and Friday. But then how we're going to do it is that whenever I've got trade signals, I will do it through the webinar. Won't do it through the webinar, but I'll do it as a recorded video, because I cannot actually plan the signals type video. When I find it and I want to trade it myself, I will share it to you guys. So I'll record myself analyzing that, and we'll send that out to all our members. So then you can actually watch it, and you don't need to register for those ones. But for the Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday one, you do need to register, because then you can actually watch the replay. Because if the replay are only for registered registrants of the webinar. Okay. All right, guys. Any questions at all? No questions on your trade so far? Any questions on anything with trading? All good? Okay, brilliant. Good. Okay, guys, thank you so much for attending my webinar. See you again Wednesdays and Fridays. And I will be sending you guys the trade signals videos. I think, in my opinion, we should be actually having a better week compared to last week. Last week was expected for it to be like that. Quite slow and stuff like that. This week, I think a lot of pending orders has actually been collected, and we've got Powell's speech, got a couple of things to move the market as well. It will be much better. I would guess it will be much better. I think maybe from today, late at night, tomorrow onwards, because if we look into the economic calendar right here, we've got quite a balanced type in terms of which countries and all that. So we see that GBP pairs would actually be quite impacted, mainly because of the data release here. And now that they have blocked the vaccines to the UK from Europe, that will actually cause a lot of negative impact onto the pound, I would guess. And with the how you call that, data release from the pound as well will create more volatility. So then I think from tonight onwards, after the London Open, we will see trends start to show a little bit clearer, and volatility start to show on GBP pairs as well. So if we want to take a look very quickly on GBP pairs right here, we could see that it was very slow in the Asian session. We don't have the bars, but then the European session is picking up. And it is picking up bullishly for now, but then we don't know that yet. At this moment of time, we need to use the news about the pound as a fuel, and then we analyze the market with a trend through the charts. Okay. All right, guys. With that, I want to thank you for your time, and we will meet you again on Wednesday. Okay. Take care. Anything, just message me and us in the team in the GTI group, as well as the Bretton Facebook page. Okay, guys. Thank you once again, and have a great pipping day and pipping week. Bye-bye.